Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working in the garden. I almost didn't film this. Over the last month or so, we've gotten a tremendous amount of rain. Seems like the days I get off from work, the garden's too wet to till, or it's raining that day. So anyways, I haven't got to touch the garden in almost a month. I've got corn that I'm several weeks behind on getting planted. I've got a lot of plants on the back porch, melon plants, pepper plants, and different things that we got to get in the garden. Some different squash and stuff like that. I'm gonna flip you around here and I'm gonna show you what the garden looks like now. It is hideous right now. It looks almost like a cow pasture. We're gonna fix this today. All hope is not lost on this thing. Let me show you what it looks like. Okay, so you can see there's grass that's almost 2 foot tall. I mean, it still is wet. It really is. The tomatoes look awful. They've gotten way too much rain. The onions, everything's just kind of rough right now. Again, not all hope is lost with this thing. Onions are doing really good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get my Troy-Bilt horse, the tiller that I put the new engine on last year. I haven't even fired that thing up this year. Both times I've tilled this garden, it's been with my aunt's 5-foot tiller that goes on the back of our tractor. I'm gonna go get that thing fired up. I'm confident not gonna have any issues with it. We're gonna transform this garden today from looking extremely awful into a decent looking garden. So hang in there with me. There'll probably be some time lapse just because tilling does get, to me, monotonous and old to watch. But we'll make a few passes down through here around the onions. We're gonna get all of it tilled. We'll probably go down to the melon patch. That thing looks awful as well, so we'll get it tilled because I've got cantaloupes, some honeydews, and some watermelons that we're going to get planted in that garden. But this garden we've got to get cleaned up. The okra, let me show you the okra. I know y'all seen us plant the okra. The okra's coming in good. So that's an okra plant right there. There's one. There's one. They're coming up just fine. So I do have an old cultivator that my aunt gave me several years ago. Oh, maybe a decade ago. Anyways, need to get that thing. Probably gonna have to replace fuel lines on it. That might be a separate video. I don't know if I'll record that or not, but I need to get that cultivator working because that'll work great. It's got like a 8-inch till head on it. That'll get in between a lot of these plants just perfect and get these weeds broke down. So anyways, hang in there with me. I'm gonna go get the tiller and we're gonna get this thing tilled up. Okay, got the tiller fired up. It wasn't just a simple put some gas in it and start it. Couldn't get it running for a little bit. Ended up talking to my aunt. I checked the spark, had spark, and started tracing the fuel back from the tank on down. I was getting all the way down to the fuel bowl. So I talked to my aunt and she explained to me where the fuel jet was in that carburetor. Got it pulled out, it was plugged up, got it cleaned out. Used a cutting torch tip cleaner. That was about the smallest thing I had that would fit through there. But anyways, it's working now. The wife's been out here weeding out between the okra plant. I'm gonna get the tiller fired up and we're just gonna start getting this garden put back to something that looks halfway decent. Okay, not much to see there. We're getting it tilled. I'm gonna end up going over it probably twice just because I can't sink the tines as deep as I'd like to. I'd like to just sink them as deep as they'll go. I do need to tighten the belt, the dry belt on that tiller. I'll probably do that just real quick. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit both of these rows again. And then I've got the entire garden still to go through all the way down to about where the Ranger's parked over here because we got to get the corn planted and all of our other stuff. Most of that's all gonna be sweet corn. So I'm not gonna bore you with all of that, but we are going to throw you up on time lapse and we're gonna get this garden taken care of. So hang in there. Okay guys, well, the garden is tilled. We've actually already got tomatoes coming in too. I thought was kind of crazy. These tomato plants look awful just for the amount of rain that we've gotten here recently. But let me show you the couple of the tomatoes that are coming in. I still got to get that cultivator working so I can get in between all the okra plants. Onions I can't really do nothing with. They're planted so close together. Got a little tomato there. Got a little tomato there. So tomorrow, we've got prior obligations for today. Tomorrow we've got to get the corn planted. It's going all over here, that whole corner, most of this distance and about 50 foot in. We'll end up doing 5 50-foot rows. The melon patch, you seen I got it tilled up, so we'll get the cantaloupes and watermelons and honeydew stuff planted over there. And we've still got some banana peppers and some other things, some squash that we'll finish getting planted in here. And then hopefully everything will be planted in the garden till later on this year. In the fall, I'll end up tilling this in again and we'll plant turnips and the whole garden will be turnips. Okay, so like I said, that's all we're doing for today. Tomorrow we'll get back to tilling, which is just gonna be a few seconds for you all. I'm gonna put it all in the same videos. All right, guys, it is the next day. It's actually closer in the evening of the next day. We've been busy most of the day. I'm standing here right in front of the melon patch. For starters, I'm going to try to get all of the watermelons and cantaloupes and honeydews planted. And once that's done, I'm gonna go up to the big garden and we're gonna try to get at least get the 5 50-foot rows of corn put in. Plus we got a bunch of other vegetables. So we're gonna see how much we can get put in and planted before it gets dark. And also, again, last night, I just tilled yesterday. It rained again last night. So the gardens look a little mucky, but I'm tired of waiting on it, so we're gonna try to get that stuff put in. Okay guys, and as far as melons go, I would prefer to have had the black felt paper put down over my melon patch, but that didn't happen. So all I'm gonna do is take my garden hoe around and build up some mounds around. And melons, they space out quite a bit, 6, 8 foot, sometimes even 10 foot. So part of these are probably gonna end up in the yard, just as close as I'm getting them, but we'll make it work. This would have been easier to do yesterday before it rained. So this little trench that I'm kind of digging to use to mound up this dirt, that little trench will also hold water. So when you water, it'll soak in around the roots quite a bit. Okay, so I've got 6 mounds out here. This garden, I guess next year is gonna have to be twice as big. I didn't pay that close attention. My wife just reminded me that I got carried away. I've got 11 plants for this garden, which isn't gonna work. I've got 6 different watermelons, 3 cantaloupes, and 2 honeydews. So some of these ain't getting planted here. We may find something for them here soon, but for sure I'm putting the black diamond watermelons in here, both of those plants, 2 of the cantaloupes, and we'll either do 2 more watermelons or do the 2 honeydews. I think the wife agrees. We'll do the 2 honeydews, see how those turn out for us. Black diamonds we always have a real good luck with. So 2 black diamonds, 2 cantaloupes, and 2 honeydews. Okay, that'll leave us some other places. I might have to rob just a small portion out of her pumpkin patch to put some of these in. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. All right, so we're changing gears again. We're doing 1 black diamond, 1 Charleston gray, which I've never grown before. We're gonna give it a try. There's the black diamond, Charleston gray. We'll get both of these put in on this end. We'll throw the cantaloupes off in the center, and the honeydews we'll put at the other end of the garden, or we might do 1 honeydew. I don't know. We're still deciding as we go, but we're getting this stuff planted today. The cantaloupes we're going with this year are Heirloom Haley's Best Jumbo. So these aren't normal ones. We had a difficult time finding the black diamond watermelons and the cantaloupes. Last year we bought everything way too early and we ended up having to have UV lights on it just to keep everything alive. We bought everything we needed last year and it was available, but this year we decided to wait so we wouldn't have to run the UV lights on everything so much. We was a little late to everything. Most everything was sold out by the time we got to it. Those Bonnie plants I just showed you, those are overpriced quite a bit more than the regular 4-inch potted plants that we normally get. What do you think about 1 honeydew plant and putting that crimson sweet down here?
Okay, sounds good to me.
Okay, melons are in. As always, the wife did a fantastic job getting everything planted. So these are done. We've got 5 more melon plants that we're gonna have to figure out something to do with. But for now, we're gonna head up to the big garden and we've got more plants to plant and we're gonna try to get the corn in tonight. Okay, we did also, the wife planted some strawberry plants in some pots here on the back. Here in a few months, we should have some strawberries also. And the wife also got my Carolina Reapers in 2 pots. These are the same 2 pots I grew the Carolina Reapers in last year, and they did really good. The other stuff we got to plant is we got some different squash plants to go with, some different jumbo jalapenos, some banana peppers. We're gonna get all these planted today because they need to be in the ground. Okay, we're gonna get the corn lined out and get it planted because that's going to take up a good bit of the garden. Once we see where it's at, then we can go ahead and get our other plants in. So to keep our corn row straight, we'll just use stakes put in at the end of the garden with a string, and I'll follow that down with the corn planter. Then we'll have nice straight rows of corn. So the corn planter that we use is this Earthway. It's got these different plates that you put in here for different size seed. You can go all the way down to radish size, which if you know what radish size seeds are, they're extremely tiny. We'll put the corn plate in here, fill this up, and I'll go ahead and get my string set so we have our 36-inch rows set. So all I'm doing is stretching the tape measure out 36 inches. I'm putting that on the edge of the garden. Right there, and then I'm going to put the stake in line with it. And that's it. I'll come over here to this other side, do the same thing, and we'll make the string tight. We'll stretch this out right over the 36 inch, put our stake in the ground. What are you doing? You making a mess? Okay, this is what the seed plates look like. You can tell this one's got all the dye and treatment of the new seeds on it. So I'll throw the seed plate in the planter, fill the planter up, and then we'll push the planter down the string line, and this row will be in. Corn we're going with is candy corn. Again, it did pretty good last year, so that's what it looks like. The bag's empty. It's not burying it. Okay, since it did rain last night, the garden isn't as soft and fluffy as it was yesterday. So it's not doing a great job burying the corn. We're having to cover it back up by hand, but that's fine. It'll still germinate here in 7 to 14 days. We'll have corn spurting up. Okay, well, like most things, my math was off. We're going to end up with 54-foot rows of corn instead of 50-foot rows of corn. But as we plant, this is some of the things we deal with. Hey, what are you doing? Are you having fun?
Wow.
You enjoying all the rain we got last night?
Oh, no. Shoot.
Shoe dog. What are you doing? Huh?
Tree.
Are you playing?
Tree. The tree.
Are you playing?
Oh, hi.
What are you doing?
Blah. Oh.
Oh, you might have to get hosed off with the water hose before you come in tonight.
Right.
Say what? Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, there is 5 54-foot rows of sweet corn put in the ground. So I'm gonna go ahead and move the stakes again, and we'll get another row spaced out at 36 inches, and we'll start getting some of these banana peppers and stuff planted. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, yeah? Okay, well, enjoy yourself.
Me.
Okay, so one of our spaghetti squash plants, or the only spaghetti squash plant that we got, this is how crucial we need to get these things in the ground. You see all these? These are blooms all over this thing. It is ready to be planted. It's not quite root bound, but it's getting close. So we'll get it planted. Okay, we've got about 8 more pepper plants to get in the ground, and then we got some more okra. So I'm gonna set you guys up down here and dig some holes for the wife, and we'll get the rest of the stuff planted. Okay, just to show you how late we are on some of these, this is a hot banana pepper. Look, it's still in the pot, and it's already growing peppers. So, got to get these in the ground. All right, guys. Well, the wife has taken the boy to the backyard to hose him off with the garden hose because he is dirty. Okay, finally, it's in. The entire garden is in. The melon garden is in. I've got one more garden that we've got to get tilled up and planted in the next few weeks, and that's going to be the pumpkin patch. So we have pumpkins for October. I've never planted pumpkins before, so this will be a new one for us. So we'll see how it goes. So we've got a lot more jalapenos, banana peppers, sweet and hot, down on that end in this row. And I guess 80 foot of okra was not enough okra. So we planted another, I'm gonna say 40 or 50 foot of okra that we have in now. So yeah, we've got tons of okra, a lot of okra. So melons are in, corns are in, squash is in, the rest of the peppers, the rest of the okra. We did it again. We just went to the greenhouse and left with more items than we should have. But all the garden is planted now. Hopefully soon this will start producing for us. It'll be probably another month or so anyways, but we do already have tomatoes coming in. I showed you the pepper plants that were still in the pots that are already grown peppers. Here before too long, we're gonna be having vegetables coming out of our ears. So anyways, I'll be doing some more updates on the garden as everything progresses here in a few weeks. When the corn starts coming up, I'll probably show you all that. I'm going to try to figure out something to spray on the corn. Last year, we ended up getting some bugs in the corn that were eating part of the kernels. So I'm going to try to head that off before it becomes an issue this year. If you found any information helpful in the video or entertaining, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.